I would say I'm here for the decapitation of the corporation.
Wow, I like
Um,
it.
I know that for a fact that I wasn't. I didn't choose this journey. This journey chose me. My spirit don't call the qualified; they qualified the call. Some people deem it to be trespassing or unlawful occupation, and unfortunately, those people don't really understand the full comprehension of what's really going on. Um, the media often, or public exposure often tamper with, the absolute truth. And yeah, by far it's not any format of illegal occupation or trespassing. In fact, it's the complete opposite.
So is this your land, or what's the actual bottom line here, and how big is it?
Well, the nation is hectares. It's probably from boundary to boundary, probably about 150 odd kilometres,
Okay.
and then
And you say boundary. Who created this boundary? What are the
well, the creation, the beginning, the Namal and
tribal
and the
boundaries?
Gubble, yeah,
Okay.
the snake, and so Gubble, snake, and Namal is the goanna.
And how did you end up in control of this, or in managing this land?
Well, it was quite a journey, Nige. I was very unaware of things growing up. I was very systemic. I was, what you would call heavily indoctrinated. And then after, being discriminated against during the COVID period, I dived in deep to really understand what sovereignty never ceded meant. And then I became more acquainted with the British Admiralty law. I've read over the journal of Captain Lieutenant Cook,
Yep.
and found out what the absolute truth was, as opposed to what had been we'd been taught.
So did this lead you into like frustration, anger, anxiety?
Um, Definitely. There's it. I guess the reality of it all is that going into depth with all of this stuff allowed me to find identity within myself, and
So what made you step up and say, well, I'm going to do something about this?
well, it's about what's doing right. I wouldn't consider myself as the leader. I guess a leader in terms of standing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's. I know of in my current era or timeline, I know of only one other direct bloodline descendant doing the same as what I'm doing. Um,
And what's the purpose of what you're doing? Do you want to share this land with the people across the country, or?
Absolutely, mate. I want to be able to afford legitimate liberation.
Nice.
People might ask the question, well, how are you going to do that?
Mm.
What makes you superior or gives you the authority to be able to do that? And the system has their own governing laws. We're all aware of it: common law, constitution, and they adhere to all of that that lawful legal stuff. And it states in their laws there's only one of three ways that they can set up a colony on land that's inhabited. 1, a bill of sale, 2, a declaration of conquership,
Yeah.
or 3, a treaty. Now we're all familiar with the voice that took place last year, the referendum. We're all familiar with
The failure.
with propaganda now calling for a treaty. Lots and lots and lots of talks at the moment going on about treaty. It's come to the time now where this monarch is is starting to. I mean, it's always been set up to fail. It's
Yeah,
never
it
been.
feels like it's running out of puff, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it's never been a system that's been made for us to prosper in a way that allows us to be autonomous. In order for me to have the best protection, and in order for me to share, Nigel, our culture was always about sharing, and we have to give it away to keep it. Yeah, so around the time of the referendum, I was on the campaign of No, and I came across this very intelligent man who had access to the journal of Captain Cook. In his journal, it states that in 1700s was when he first discovered
Yep.
Australia. Um, he later then returned in 1770 by the directions of British Admiralty to seek permission of the natives of the land. So it was a full confession that they knew the land was occupied. His directions were to seek permission for the natives for us to set up a colony there. Captain Cook arrived and touched the shores at Botany,
Yep.
which is the home of the original nation of the Gweagal people. He did write and state that in his journal, after 15 minutes of consultation, quarter of an hour was what he wrote. 15 minutes. He couldn't come to an agreement, so 2 muskets were fired, which killed the Gweagal chief. Now, we were governed under international laws at that time. Also, Lieutenant Cook was governed by British Admiralty law. It states in international law and British Admiralty law that one cannot profit of the proceeds of a crime.
Yep.
Now, killing, shooting a tribal man is obviously an act of war. It's a crime. It's the highest crime of their constitution, to be exact. Treason and genocide. With stating in their superior governing laws that one cannot profit of the proceeds of a crime, how 18 years later did they come back, set up a colony and profit from 1788?
Has ever that been exposed?
Well, this is exactly what we're speaking about. Is that no? It's
Brushed under
falsified.
the rug.
It's under the rug.
Yep.
It seems absurd to start asking these questions that go back 237 years, right? And that's my fight. I was in the local court against Department of Planning and Environmental, who alleged I was trespassing on Crown lands. I proclaimed that the Crown owned the land. Throughout litigation, and my rebuttals to everything, they amended the statement of claim, and would you believe it? They took out owner, so they didn't state that the Crown was the owner of the land anymore. It was registered to DPHI Proprietary Limited, right?
What does that mean?
They turned it from a monarchy ownership to a commercial operation, which is obviously what the whole governing systems here is based on, right? Commerce is,
Yeah.
If you're not aware, well then I'm about to enlighten you that the government of Australia is just a registered business. You can research it on ABN, find it,
Yep.
Google, look up Commonwealth of Australia, or to give you the corporation registration here. But to go in more depth, it's actually registered to the Security Exchange Commission in America.
Yeah, happily trading in Washington.
Yes. With the Crown lands being a registered business
Yep.
putting up signs to say that they own the land. It would be like Bunnings or Woolworths just putting up a sign on my land to say that they're the owner, right?
Pretty
So
much.
it doesn't make sense. How does that justify itself? That's the critical thinking and the in-depth thinking that I've been doing. Is that hey, I got a registered business.
And what's their rebuttal to you when you come back with that?
They haven't been able to rebut. They just try and
Interesting.
move on. Nige, they've actually changed. So the Department of Planning and Environmental was the business that opened litigation, that started the statement of claim. Due to the ongoing back and forth, in 24 they sent me an email to say we would like to discontinue
Discontinue what?
the case in the local court.
Interesting.
So they wanted to take, basically, in the most easiest format to put it, these guys signed a contract to jump in the ring and box me in the ring.
Yep.
2 weeks before we were about to get into the ring, they wanted to get out of the contract. Discontinuum say, hey, we want to basically not jump in the ring and fight you, but discontinuing allows us to maybe talk about fighting in the ring.
So they're looking for a rejig on how to play the game.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So
So when you say discontinue, it's not stop. Just these guys are not big enough. We're going to get some bigger ones.
that's what would have taken
Yeah.
place if I had have agreed in contract with this system. I replied and said, hey, listen, unfortunately you guys signed the contract to fight me in the ring.
Yep.
I'm going to be in the ring on this date. I'll see you there. We went to court. They showed up, and probably about 4 minutes flat. They didn't give me the opportunity to really go into depth about it. The case was withdrawn and dismissed, and withdrawn.